Much that once was is lost, for none now live who remember it.
All right, here we go. Finally.
We are not live.
That's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. This is way better anyways.
At least we can just get rolling without having to worry about it, you know?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. So, finally, we'll just post it, and then you can even put on your social media, like Facebook, and just post literally this YouTube video.
I will.
People can watch it like that. Say, hey, live didn't work out. If you want to check it out.
Yeah, we'll figure out live later. I don't know why it's doing that. Live's being...
Whatever.
Yeah. Internet. Could be your internet. I don't know.
Probably is.
Takes a lot of bit rate to stream like good quality.
Right.
It really does. But yeah, fuck yeah, we're here. Getting the episode going, boys. Number 6 in the cut.
So, I read that Elon just got permission in, I think, Maryland to do the tunneling under there for the whole the transportation from
Hyperloop?
Yeah, the Hyperloop to Washington, D.C. to New York.
Oh, so they're breaking ground on that, too? Man, that's epic.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, it's fair. I think it's fairly new. I think I saw it today, actually.
What?
I don't know if it came out today, but I read it.
Man, they've only gotten that thing to like... I think they just broke the 200 mile per hour barrier.
Oh, on those skis?
Yeah, on the electromagnetic, basically the car.
Slider things that the car is parked on.
Yeah, it's just... But it's supposed to go... their goal is 700 miles per hour.
Is that what's going to get you to New York from...
700 miles per hour. That's crazy. Just going. That would be so quick.
Wait, I think they said California, LA to Washington, D.C. I think.
No, because they're doing one in LA to like San Francisco or like that gap to get from LA to San Fran. Maybe
it's just Washington, D.C. to New York.
Yeah, like that's probably what they're talking about. Because that would make sense. Those are like the two big points, you know, capital of the United States and then pretty much the heart of the United States, New York City. So
I think it would be good if there was a freaking crazy attack in New York. You could just get everybody to go under and
fuck that.
Into Washington,
I wouldn't
DC.
even want. Oh, I see what you're saying.
To evacuate.
Oh, yeah,
everybody
but
would be
only so many cars, you know.
Still.
I mean,
it'd be the next best way to evacuate because the traffic would be all crazy above.
Dude, I mean, just watch Independence Day when they start first seeing the ship come in. All the people in New York, they're like looking around and get out of their cars and people are smashing into each other, freaking out. Dude, it'd be bad. Any type of chaos in a big city, to me, just seems like I wouldn't even want to be in that situation. People were screaming, running around, just like...
You're just in like a rat's nest. Just
seriously.
Everybody.
Like everything's calm, everything's going about its normal, and then all of a sudden one disturbance and it's like... everyone's just going bananas.
Unless you had a helicopter.
How old is this place?
It's like 1913 or something.
Wow.
Or 19. Yeah, it's old.
That is amazing. It's like modernized slightly, but like not recently.
It's Portland, dude. All these buildings are old and...
Yeah, that's one thing they said. If like the big earthquake, the Juan de Fuca or the San Andreas Fault goes, Portland is gonna get messed up.
Yeah. Well,
like even if we don't get the big one, like the 9 point something, whatever, it's more likely LA and San Fran and that area is gonna get it. But if we up here get even like, you know, high 6, like into the 7s.
Right. Well, there's a fault line just on the West Hills.
Yeah, that
goes perfectly through the whole West Hill. So that's just on the west side where all it goes up, you know, you cross and then it starts to get up. That's all like
that's fault.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Where plates are meeting?
Yeah.
Oh my
I think
part
they're-
of something.
I think they're the grinding plates. They're the ones that go like this, not the ones that subduct under one another or go over. They grind. I think that's what they're doing, and I don't know how long it goes for, but I think it's just a fracture.
That is insane.
I took a geology class in college like a year ago, but I don't remember exactly if it's the latter, this movement, or I don't think it goes over it. That's the Cascadia plate, and
Like
the
one's
fault
going
line is the
underneath, but it's
subduction
like
zone. Yeah, like
building up.
it like curves it, and then when it gives, it goes.
That's
and that's
so
what creates
scary.
the tsunami, because it creates that upthrust.
Well, it displaces all that, like all that extra, like.
Well, what's crazy is
energy gets displaced and then ripples back in.
Is also when the ground sinks, when it's like the shoreline, like the beach, say seaside, say that was the plate that goes under or whatever, it actually sinks, which is why the water comes in, seems to be so high. It's because the ground actually drops like 3-4 inches.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And then the water comes in, and then it's just crazy.
Right? But at first, it goes out.
Yeah.
Because of the shock wave, and then rolls right back in. And then that's obviously
I think it's just the wave. The wave is pulling.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's displacing, which is rippling it. And
right.
Then that shock wave goes right back into land.
Yeah.
I think it's the process of the lifting and then swelling back in or something like that. That's crazy, though.
It is crazy. But Portland is all built on like really soft, silty type sediment.
God, dude,
so
it'd be so bad.
Liquefaction is what's going to be bad. Is all the dirt and sediments.
Like they saw in Japan when it was like, dude standing in the ground is oscillating.
But it turns to liquid.
Like the earth was breathing.
Yeah, and so the buildings that are built on it, you know, when it vibrates like that, it creates it turns to water basically. And so the building kind of just sinks. So you got to hope that they're all like...
That's bad.
Yeah.
That is like...
But
the buildings, that's what I was going to say. The buildings are just old. The infrastructure is just a lot of brick buildings, a lot of old, just, they're not meant
the bridges
to take.
And stuff. Yeah, brick does not do well unless you take brick buildings. They have these bolts. You'll notice if they have them retrofitted for earthquakes, they have these big black nails basically that they find the floor line and the baseboards, and they shoot these
all the
giant
way through,
rods through it, so that when the earthquake happens, the wall, because brick the walls tend to just fall and crumble, so it braces it to the foundation of the building, so it stops the brick walls from just falling and breaking because they're stuck
on people potentially. Oh my god!
Or just crumbling because it's weak, so it stops it from falling because it's bolted to the base,
right?
You know, on the different floors. So if you ever see like a black like perfectly spaced, you'll notice.
You'll know,
and
like,
you'll be
that's your.
That's probably.
You probably had to
like
do that.
Circular plates that they put over the nails.
Wonder how many out of all the buildings like that's been done to.
Dude, they have crazy. They have like buildings that are probably more recent, where deep underneath them, they're like built like on, basically elevated, and they have magnets down there that when the earth shakes, these magnets counter it or whatever, or these giant weights, or like I can't remember what they're like on pit. I don't remember, but
they're like giant shock absorbers.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Like, and they've taken the old buildings and they go in with these jacks and they actually jack up the building.
Right.
I actually watched this before.
So
and mount these huge. They're probably like bigger than this desk around. Probably about like.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're bigger. I think they're like talking about 6 feet in diameter and shit. Like, got a big, looks like a bag, like almost like airbags.
Yeah.
But just
like under a car, like a spring type shock absorbing giant.
Any oscillation,
rubber, it counters
that.
Exactly, so the building doesn't really move.
Whoa.
Like it gets crazy retrofitted, but Portland would be fucked because we've got the oil tanks on the river, on the Columbia, and they're super old oil tanks and they weren't retrofitted. So all that sediment, if we have the big 9, all that sediment's going to shake that it's on, and all those oil tanks are just going to slide into the river, and it's going to pollute everything.
Where are those?
Just right on the Columbia on the other side, where you always see all that pollution. There's like
from that like
if you go down the Columbia, like
paper mill.
Yeah, like if you were driving down Marine Drive, you would eventually see, if you would just go past, I think, the airport and like some of those bridges, eventually you'll see all these oil tank, just giant things filled with oil. And basically that's a lot of the energy that we get is from that area as far as oil.
Okay.
So if that goes under, they were saying that there might not be enough like oil for vehicles to help, because that's the only supply we have. And it was stupidly built on the Columbia River because we colonized early and they didn't really think about it. They didn't realize that earthquakes will just fuck it all up.
Well, I think now is the time to take care of these things.
We slowly are, but it's just a matter of voting and convincing people and funding.
Right.
That's
well, we waste so much money. It's like if they would just logically think, okay, what can we put money towards,
infrastructure and retrofitting.
That is important because shit gets old and we still have a lot of old shit that's just dying and it needs to be updated because
brick buildings.
Yeah. Just need to modernize our infrastructure, fix the roads, get everything efficient. So in case something does happen, we don't have to worry about that collateral damage of like buildings falling apart, big old walls coming down. Like on Mexico, when that fault line broke, there's a video of a guy like up above, and you can see where all the smoke is, dirt and dust is coming out, and it's literally follows all the way that you can see where the fault line is.
It's crazy. Like filming from on top of the building.
Up on the building.
Yeah.
And that one building came down. Those guys were in the road, and some girl, and it's like. I was like, oh my god.
Right?
Dude, that was scary. I've never seen a building come down in an earthquake before.
Yeah.
Like footage of just like...
There's that New Zealand one that happened a couple of years ago. It was like a 6.7 or something like that. Or maybe,
that's pretty big.
And there was a brick building. It was like a video camera looking on this little block. It was like a road in an intersection. And there was this brick building. And it was close enough to where you could see the whole thing. Like as soon as the camera started shaking, instantly the whole building came down. Like there was, if you were in there and you felt the earth and you were like, oh, earthquake, you would have already been, the whole brick just came down.
Oh my god.
So those people, if there's people in there, they had no chance because it just happened. It collapsed
too fast. Like sinkholes. Dude, they were showing this thing with sinkholes. Some dude's house was just gone. His house was gone and the neighbor was like, oh fuck. Dude's house was, they had to fill in the house. House had to be demolished.
There's a video that's trying to think. There's a guy on a scooter and he's on the road and there's a sinkhole in the road and he's on a scooter.
No.
And he doesn't, for whatever reason, he's not paying attention. And then he falls into the sinkhole. In fact, I could probably
bring that up. Show that shit. That's funny. That's fucking funny.
How can you miss it? Moped falls in sinkhole.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's in China. Oops.
Espacial. Oh shit. Oh damn. Oh fuck.
Dude, right? And look, it doesn't.
Look at another one rolls by and shit.
Look how casual that guy is, just walking. Like he doesn't even care. Like,
what's that dude doing?
He's getting the moped out of there.
Oh, he got his shit out of there. Okay. That's wild. Well, what the fuck? Oh shit. What the fuck?
That's not real. That's clickbait.
Yeah, that's clickbait, bro. That looked real though.
It ain't real, bro.
These people are good at Photoshop. All I can say is pray to God that doesn't happen in our lifetime.
What, that big 9.0?
That or the other big concern, Yellowstone.
And NASA wants to drill holes into it. I think they want to like release pressure or something.
I can agree with that.
What if it just blows up?
It wouldn't just blow up. It blows up from pressure building up.
Oxygen in there, and the oxygen reacts with the heat, and then it just feeds the fuel.
Well, I'm not saying that when they're drilling the holes, might push. That's scary. Push some shit up and like. But
I think they should just leave it alone.
I don't know,
just throw
dude.
some water on it. We should just start getting
water.
Pull some water from.
That's not
going to
do anything.
And just cover that whole thing and make it into a
I wouldn't
lake
do shit.
again.
Dude, the caldera is so big.
Right. I know it's huge.
So much magma in that chamber that I think almost relieving pressure with like a lot of like.
I think there's another chamber below that chamber. I think there's two.
Probably.
And they think it's bigger. It's like the size of the state of Idaho, they think.
See.
Or Montana or something. Like massive.
That's devastating because if they'll know too because the ground will swell.
Right.
They have seismometers, obviously measuring for any oscillations.
It might not swell though. It might fall into itself like a caldera does. That's what a caldera is it was a crater that fell into itself. It caved in like a Crater Lake.
Okay.
Crater Lake is a volcano because you'll notice in the middle of it, it's got an island. And that's because when the whole thing collapsed and covers the magma chamber hole,
yeah,
it starts to push up again. So that island in the middle of Crater Lake is the magma pushing the earth.
It's like reforming. Yeah,
underneath.
It's a new volcano. It's reforming, basically.
Exactly. But it's all filled with water, and it's Crater Lake now.
That's a trip.
I think that's what a caldera is when it caves in and then covers the magma chamber, and then eventually it kind of...
But that's the after effect. It does cave in, but it blows out and then leaves this huge hole in the earth.
Yeah, you're right. That's the caldera
Which
itself.
It could be, like, once it relieves all its pressure and fucks everything up, releases all the ash and everything, there'd be a big bowl of magma, like a big, huge hole in the ground. Look like like that, what's that? There's that big pit up in Russia that they can't stop burning. It's just literally methane is naturally coming up through the earth, and somebody accidentally lit it on fire. And it still is it's been on fire for like decades now. And it's just this huge, like, look it up. Hell on Earth in Russia.
Oh, I've seen that video.
Dude.
Hell on, yeah, it's like a crater with,
yep,
it looks like a cave, but there's like magma inside.
It's methane gas that's on fire.
Have you seen the video when they throw trash in that volcano? Just a bag of trash.
It just vaporizes.
And it's like, it does this, it starts bubbling and it kind of explodes. And then,
really?
Yeah, it's like having this crazy reaction from just whatever's in it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nice shirt though.
Maybe science will help.
Right? He's all looking at him like, what you talking about?
This is what I hope to flat earthers to see when they walk by me.
Maybe this will help. It's like,
or like Donald Trump. Maybe science will help.
Right?
You crazy bastard.
You get a little science going. He ain't really focused on science. No presidents really are.
He don't know science. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Why does he believe in it? He believes in profit.
Yeah.
He believes in profit.
Yeah. He's focused on all kinds of typical politic bullshit.
I'm going to make the Secretary of Defense or whatever, Rex Tillerson, the ex-CEO of ExxonMobil.
Man, that company's dying, bro.
Exxon. Because of electric cars.
I think literally they showed a statistic of Elon Musk's company Tesla. They made more money in 1 quarter than Exxon did in a whole year.
Damn.
That's insane.
That's insane.
So it just shows we're getting into those early transition stage away from oil. It's going to take a long time, though. Probably not by the mid, 2040s. Start to see a really big balance of electric cars and gasoline. It'll be like 50-50. I feel like.
Maybe.
I think by that time.
Electric cars get as big as. I mean, they seem like they have a pretty good path right now.
There's no stopping it. Battery technology is going to get better. Everything more computerized, simpler, cheaper, 3D printing. Think about everything. It's
But I'm just wondering with the whole Tesla semi-truck, because they're trying to.
Oh yeah.
The government is trying to make it to where you can't make that shit because it's going to affect too many big businesses where they need these semi-trucks to bring money in. So if autonomous trucks take over for delivering goods, then all these businesses are going to be extremely affected, and unions and all this shit. So they're trying to
Well,
block
guess
it
what?
because it's gonna.
The world's gonna change.
Right.
They're beating a dead horse, dude.
Right.
They really are. Elon knows. He's like, you fuckers are dead.
Right.
We're gonna push it forward, push the technology. By doing so, he is automating some things. But I mean, transitioning throughout history, there was points in time where we changed things, and so that screwed up, people who had certain jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's just inevitable as we push forward. There's going to be that, like, change in automation or something that comes about that takes away the old way of doing things for maybe a newer, more efficient way. And I feel like by doing transportation, like trucks and services, there's a lot of huge diesel-powered trucks polluting the earth.
Yeah.
So if we can take the simple things like mass transit, transportation, buses, like for Max, or I mean not Max, for TriMet, stuff like that, and make it not only automated but efficient, like electric power, then I feel like that's a good step towards cleaning up our air. We went off of Yellowstone. We were talking about the Yellowstone volcano because we were talking about earthquakes in Portland, the infrastructure of the how the Portland's buildings are so old that they would.
But they're retrofitting them. That's what's good.
Well, yeah, I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, places like Seaside and shit. They've been trying to get shit done for a while, or at least the geologic. What's the community? The geological community.
Yeah.
The geology people, the biologists, all those people that test the sediment, all that, and they know about what's going to happen and what's happened in the past, and how far water's actually come inland.
Oh yeah,
which completely covers, like, devours cities that we have perfectly built. And so I guess they had they have their hospitals right on the shoreline and shit.
Yeah.
Their fire departments, their police stations. So if anything happens, your hospitals are flooded, your police stations are gone, everything. So they're like, bad. We got to back it up.
That's bad.
So they just retrofitted the old building or old hospital. Instead of moving it, they like fixed it up and then retrofitted it. So it's still vulnerable for tsunamis. It's just more retrofitted for an earthquake.
Yeah, it'll be able to survive, but it'll just be.
But it wouldn't matter because it's gonna be underwater.
Well, yeah. Well,
you can't.
No doubt.
All the injured and all the people that are gonna get hurt from the earthquake have nowhere to go.
Why do we do this? Why do we build like all of our stuff like right next to the water?
And it was like
I guess everything.
It took a long. I don't think this was Seaside. I think this was a further north city, but it took them a while to even get anything done because they had to pass it. They had to pass a bill to fund for these things, and so they had to convince the city officials of the science of it, and they just weren't giving in because it was so expensive.
Well, they're not going to give their money until they have some some
legitimate bullshit
showing that it's a threat to humanity, in a sense.
But even with that, they had the evidence, and they just. It's like, we'll just fix up the hospital. We won't move it. We'll just fix it up.
Oh, well, yeah, to build a whole new building, yeah, they'd rather... That makes sense.
But at
the same time, it's like, isn't saving people's lives more important than...
But you can't save them if the hospital is under.
No, I know, I understand. That's what I'm saying, though.
Like, you're okay.
So it's like, yeah,
right.
wouldn't the logic be to just spend that extra money to...
Yeah.
To...
Or at least you'd think.
Oh, speaking of earthquakes, we got a 5.2 magnitude earthquake in Minab, Iran.
Just now?
Yeah, in Iran.
And it popped up on your phone. Yeah, so that's kind of a big deal.
No,
right?
And I have my settings on Quake Feed, which is an awesome app that just gives you updates when earthquakes happen around the world.
Whoa!
I have mine set up to anything above a 5.0. It sends me an alert from wherever it takes place around the world, just so that I, just in case we might get a 5 point something off the coast of Oregon or somewhere in California, I'll know to pay attention to that. And
what blows my mind is all those big earthquakes that happen in like Japan. How did since there were so many of them, you'd think that for how big they were, I guess I can't think of how the plates are on that side, but why we wouldn't get a aftershock on our side? Like, is it just because it's too far? I feel like we never feel earthquakes in Portland.
That's too far.
I've never felt an earthquake here in Portland.
For an app, yeah, for over there, if it's coming from over there, it's too far. Unless it was
but it's like the
ridiculously
earth moving. It's
amazing.
like those plates are so big, and it's like if one goes under the other, or one goes over the other, whatever. However, I can't think of how that side is. I think that the Pacific plate is coming
up
underneath
it's going under
us, underneath our west coast.
Yeah.
So the west coast is the one that's getting curled, and then
that's when it
up.
will reflect back out.
So then that would mean that the other side is moving away from a plate and just grinding this way, I think, as opposed to grinding into it like this, and then eventually building up like that. Yeah. It's like sliding away from a like. I can't do it.
Yeah,
there's ones that grind like this, and then there's subduction.
Oh
zones.
yeah, ones that go up under.
There's different ones.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say you should go to the desktop and bring it up on the screen. Go to ventu sky.com.
What is that?
It's basically a world real-time map. You can see all the weather on the world that's going on.
Oh, I actually have old earthquake stuff on here.
Go to Ventu Sky. Seriously,
Ventu Sky?
If you've never seen Ventu Sky, you got to see this.
Is it? How do I spell it?
ventu sky.com. This is awesome. Because I was going to bring up, we were talking about like natural disasters. Look at the massive typhoon that's about to destroy Japan.
Well, hold on. Let me pull this up here.
Yeah. Let's. Whoa, nice. Okay, so now we'll see what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Okay, so zoom out. You can just scroll out like a map, and then look at the size of this typhoon that's hitting Japan right now. Turn on, I think it's wind speed. So now you're seeing the wind.
So the red obviously is.
And that's the.
Wow, this is live. Right now.
Well, this is kind of like a period of time, like,
right.
And it's just cycling to show you the airflow, but you can play it, and it'll show you the movement of the air over time. From, I think it starts at midnight,
6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m.
all the way to 11 the next day. It'll keep going too. It'll go to the next day. This is all simulation, but based on their satellites and all their shit. Yeah, that looks trippy too. You can see like kind of a cloud.
I also can see it's cloudy and shit. But is this right? Is this right now though? Does it check what's right now, or is this just at this particular time? Is it 2 a.m. or?
We'll go to. Well, that's Monday. So if you go back,
this is cool. Thunderstorms.
Yeah, you can see where all the thunderstorms are happening around
the equator.
A lot in Africa, right around the equator.
Oh shit! Damn. Could you imagine being out there in a boat?
Look, another typhoon forming right there.
Waves, significant wave height.
Yeah, look over here.
Whoa.
That air from the typhoon.
Dude, imagine what's going on over there. Just darkness. And
you can look how tall the waves are. 21 feet high waves. 19,
okay.
22.
Damn.
27-foot waves out there, and that's some
Whoa.
big waves out in the ocean.
From the base of the
If you were in a boat, you'd feel so small out there. You'd just be getting thrown around.
That's terrifying.
It is. I think that's one of the scariest things, being out in the open ocean in a really bad storm. That to me is just like you could easily just get swallowed by this.
At Japan, they're 31 feet.
Because of the typhoon, dude. The typhoon, it's called Li.
Well, what's going on over
It's
here?
literally called Li.
Damn, even look at that in the up here. Those are pretty big for just that little pocket of
There's
water.
A lot of airflow going on.
Whoa, dude, this is nuts.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
30 feet up in here too, by the Nordic country, or by Ireland and London.
Well, yeah, it's pretty awesome. Even shows you snow cover where it's snowing. Check that one. That was funny. Obviously, it's super cold up here.
Yeah. Flat Earth, dude. Just kidding.
No, that's funny. Yeah, this app's super awesome.
Yeah, this is cool.
You can actually bring in the browser source straight into OBS from this website, which is kind of cool. Then you can like transition it in.
It's pretty cool.
But yeah, that is kind of slowed down. Typhoon Li.
Typhoon Li has.
Yeah, slowed down significantly.
Because
when it was approaching, it was almost category 4. And people said it was going to get bigger.
Are typhoons the same, essentially, on
the
rating scale?
Well, they are the same, and the rating scale is the same. They spin opposite of each other.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So,
That's cool.
One spins clockwise, the other spin counterclockwise.
But they don't. But no direction creates like if it spins counterclockwise, that one doesn't create more damage than the one that creates.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's just because it's in that particular area of the world, the way the air flows there causes them to spin that way, so they call them typhoons.
Oh, shit.
It's trippy. Yeah, I was like, so what's the difference? Why are they called typhoons and those are hurricanes?
Nice.
It's confusing because they're like the same thing, like scientifically, but just because they have opposite patterns, they call them something different.
That's cool.
Yeah, and one's East Coast, one's West Coast, so it's easy to remember. Okay,
Imagine being in the
hurricanes
space
are on the East Coast. Anything in the Pacific is a typhoon.
Imagine being in the space station and looking down on one, just like seeing it through the window.
Oh, as you're orbiting, yeah. There's They took pictures of what was the largest hurricane we've had? In
Harvey or Irene?
Well, they probably did get Hurricane Harvey and whatever the one after that one was. That was the big one.
Jose? No, Jose was smaller. That was Irma.
Irma, yes.
Did I just say Irma? Did I say Irma?
You said something.
Irene. I said
Irene. Yeah.
Me, myself, and Irene.
It was one. It was like Hurricane Charlie. That was like a couple years ago or something. It was after Katrina, but before this super crazy hurricane season. But it was like one of the largest. It was supposed to like go towards New York and do a lot of damage, but it died down. But it was like super huge, Category 5.
Damn.
Just like massive out in the Pacific Ocean.
How weird is it that there was...
Or the Atlantic Ocean.
There was one that just hit Ireland from that side.
Oh yeah, it came up and swept up that way.
And it like unburied some 1,000-year-old skeleton. It was like a tree or something, and it kind of just like carved out this area where you could see like this ancient...
And this guy was buried there.
And some people thought it would have been like a recent body, but then they checked it out and they were like, no, this is ancient. This is like 1,000 years old.
What? Just some human? It was a human being?
Yeah, it was a human. Just a human that was probably an ancient burial or some shit. They think maybe it's an old burial ground. They don't know. But it's
that is
cool.
just insane. This storm just
when
rips up the earth and reveals like something that's been buried, hidden. Right. Like it would have ended up just rotting away, but it so happens that
it comes with like a cool sword or something. Like probably no jewelry. I don't know.
Find some epic like preserved sword in there, like from some we don't even know what it's from. Right. That'd be like that's like that one machine. Have you seen that? The Antikythera computer. Yeah. They found it off the coast of Greece, and
that thing is crazy.
They found like a bunch of other crazy statues all preserved and stuff down there, but they found this like mechanical machine that looks like it'd be like similar to a clock or something. Like it has a bunch of gears and dials, but I guess it's supposed to, they were such good mathematicians that the Greeks were able to build something that could tell them the way the different where the position of the stars are going to be, or the planets, sorry, like within our solar system. They were able to make a machine that could tell them that.
Yeah, this thing.
And the seasons. It was like a calculator for our solar system almost.
So this is what they found right here. And they 3D scanned it and shit with like lasers.
Yeah, because at first they didn't know what it was. They were trying to figure out, what could this be? Because it didn't seem like anything they had seen before.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And so they had to like scan into it to be able to figure out what's the because pieces were missing. It was rotted.
Wheels within wheels, the rear side of Freeth and colleagues' reconstruction of the Antikythera mechanism.
Yeah, Antikythera.
Viewed sideways on. The left gear and pointer system simulated the Saros cycle and predicted lunar and solar eclipses. The right gears and pointers were for the Callipic cycle that synchronizes synodic months and solar years. At the center, mounted on the large gear wheel, were 2 pairs of identical gear wheels, E5, E6 at the center, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever.
So I remember watching a documentary on YouTube, like part of it talking about
why they named it the Antikythera.
No, just they were trying to figure out what it was.
Oh.
They're speaking about the process of how they like were trying to understand like what it was and what it did.
Right.
Took them a while because they needed more advanced scanning technology to be able to see inside of it, because they couldn't take it apart without destroying it because it was so rotted under the water for so long that they basically had no choice.
It looks like it was made out of iron or something because of how it eroded. Or what was it? What would it be brass where it would mold green like that? Like,
well, usually copper does, but
Or
I don't know what other.
brass?
I don't
'Cause
know
the
what
Statue
other.
of
I don't know.
Liberty was made out of copper.
Yeah,
or brass?
copper. It was copper.
So that's why it's green. Now.
it turns that green.
So yeah, maybe that's what it was. It was a
oxidization.
copper mechanism because it looked.
Maybe they
green.
used some copper in the metal they were using.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know what metal they would have used to make those. There was gears and stuff, so whatever it was,
It's crazy.
slowly. I mean, you look at, and shit grows on stuff too. Like you look at like the
Right.
Titanic, and the Titanic's got all these like big
Probably
chunks of stuff
barnacles.
growing on it, and like the rotted green color, kind of like that. That's wild though, right off the coast of
Titanic.
Greece. There's something they just recently found that they like dug up, like this perfectly preserved statue they found in the same place they found the whole Antikythera mechanism.
A
It's like,
statue?
it's like some big boat that crashed that had all this shit on it. Yeah, it was like some statue or something. But it was like preserved perfectly.
I know that there's
But-
giant steps underwater. Seen those?
Oh yeah,
They're like these huge steps, or almost like a pyramid or something like that.
something. That's funny that you bring that up because I was literally going to bring up the guy that was on Joe Rogan, the geologist / historian.
Oh, are you talking about?
Oh man,
Graham Norton. Is
he's
he
kind of the older guy, right?
the Santa Claus guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Or no, that's not.
That's
Graham Norton. That's
no. I think he was on the same
it's
thing.
Graham Hancock and
Yeah, and
Edward Norton. No, Edward
Edward-
Norton. That's
funny. That's awesome.
Isn't he? Doesn't he?
I can
play-
probably look it up. I have it saved under
What is it? Graham Hancock and Randall
Randall
Carlson.
Carlson. Thank
Yeah.
you, Randall Carlson. Yeah,
He's the one who thinks
Dude,
the
I was
asteroidal
watching
impact.
his whole thing with Joe Rogan. I didn't even finish it all because it's like almost 4 hours long.
Those are one of my favorite episodes.
Dude, that episode had me so hooked. I was like sitting there and I was like, well, this reminds me of like when I was a little kid watching dinosaur videos on like TV and stuff.
Right?
Because he was getting into such detail about the way the Earth used to be. I was like, this is amazing. Like that he knows this information. He was explaining, and he was showing a map because he brought his like tablet or computer with him, and they had it sent out to the feed, so he was able to bring up the feed and then just manipulate it. And he had a map that he had shown,
like tell Jamie to pull
what
stuff up.
yeah,
prior, 'cause
yeah.
he's
So
already got it
he pushes it on
uploaded.
his thing, and then he just shows it on there, and it was a map of the Earth 15,000 years ago, showing you the water elevation.
Right.
So he took a map and then overlaid like where the water used to be, so you could see in some of these places where there was more ice in the polar ice caps of the North America. It hadn't carved out sections of water, so there was more land. There's actually like more land up in North America towards where Alaska connected to Russia, basically.
Oh, the land bridge.
The land bridge was bigger back then, though,
Or they all-
15,000 years
People
ago.
migrated.
And they showed Europe back then. Europe, how it kind of looks broken up a little bit in spots. It was all connected at one point because the land was all there. And then when that water displaced, it flooded those areas.
Well, he
And
also
over a period of time, he was just breaking down how the Earth looked so dramatically different just 15,000 years ago.
Right.
And then over that period of time, and we're still coming out of basically like that basically he called it the miniature ice age, because there was a bigger one from some big disaster that took place, which they believe is that asteroidal impact that hit in
hit the ice, which melted it and created it.
Well, either that or the one that landed in the, what's it called?
In Russia? In Siberia?
No, Gulf of Mexico. That's why it.
Oh,
the Chicxulub.
the Yucatan
I think
Peninsula?
it's the Chicxulub impact.
Oh, yeah, is it?
Yeah, that's like the really massive impact that they've
Chicxulub,
just
that's
recently
the
been
Gulf
able to
of
figure.
Mexico,
Yeah,
that little
and they
spot.
weren't able to look at it before because of they didn't have technology to scan under the ocean. And so when they had the capability to do that, they were able to then see the seabed and were able to confirm that that's why Mexico right there looks like that all used to be connected land and looked way different. Like most of it was connected.
But it's a crater.
The
from
crater
impact.
blew out and caused a devastating Earth event that led there to being, like they talked about, where ash and stuff covers the globe and puts it in like a winter.
Yeah, nuclear winter for like years.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So I wonder if that happened too, like around that, he was saying around that 12 to 14,000 year time frame.
He talks
Something
about the
happened.
Missoula floods too.
Yeah.
And that like an asteroid had hit maybe it hit somewhere, and then that heat melted the ice, and then
Oh
it created
God,
like
that'd
this
be
rush
insane.
of water, because we think it happened over a slow period of time, and he's kind of theorizing that it might have happened
Suddenly.
super quick over hours, like just over like 6 hours or something like that.
And
So
that
it
could
was this
completely
crazy
change
event,
a landscape. Like,
because all that ice was melted from the impact from the meteor.
whoa.
And so it just created, and again, he thinks that there's this evidence of like tsunamis off the coast, because from the satellite you can see the displacement of land, and you can tell where tsunamis hit.
Yeah.
Because of the force of the water, it pushes all the sediment. So from space, you can see these areas.
Well, and he was showing a picture of the flood lines on the mountain hills. So something flooded all of a sudden, and then over a period of time, gradually sunk, and you can see the lines carved into the mountain still, because it's all grass covered and everything now. But when it hit, it shows where it peaked out at, and that was the shore from the flooding, and then over time it drained. He said it drained out because, like you said, suddenly it floods.
Right.
And then over time that all displaced and slowly went down and oscillated. And
left found
hundreds of marks into the mountain.
Like seashells on top of Mount Everest and shit. Have you ever heard that? That they found like evidence of sea life.
Yeah, because some places that were that is insane that some places actually used to be underwater.
But that's Mount Everest. That's the tallest point on the
planet. They were saying from over a period of time before all that, before those two lifted up, they were underwater. There's places in North America that used to be underwater too. Now they're totally just,
I think those
mountain ranges, and
one side of that plate is China and the other side is India. Pretty sure. Tibet, and then there's China. I think that's right where the plates are, where where it creates that epic mountain range, Mount Everest, is because of the plates.
Yeah, is it right above? Isn't that part of
hitting each
where
other?
India is?
Yeah, Tibet, India,
okay,
China,
so right there,
and they fight over shit.
That's insane, though. That's a huge mountain range.
Yeah, that's where in that movie 2012 they had that mountain bunker. So when the whole world basically got flooded,
that's a smart place.
They had these pre-made inside bunkers in these giant
mountains.
And
they built those huge ships, the Ark ships.
Yeah, the
for
giant
humanity.
Ark ships. Yeah.
Whoa!
And they flowed out and went out, and then they found Africa, and Africa had risen super high above all the water.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Africa is so gigantic too.
Right?
People don't even understand how big that is.
The Desert's as big as the whole continental U.S.
That's unbelievable.
You could put the whole U.S. in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, they were showing a picture of all, a bunch of countries overlaid. You can fit, China and the United States and I think Australia and a couple others, some other countries, and fill out Africa.
Yeah.
That's so insane.
Well, that's what's great. The maps apparently aren't accurate as far as the size of the countries. Africa is not the real size. You can fit, I think, America, China, and Greenland in Africa.
Here's what kind of blew my mind. I was thinking about this. I was like, why is it that there's no writings, or as far as I've seen, there probably is, but I've never seen it talked about on any documentary or anything. There's no writings about how the Egyptians built the pyramids. Right. You think they would have documented.
Is there, though?
That's what I'm wondering, because you think they would have documented these things. You see other civilizations and cultures and show how they built it.
Deepak Chopra, an Egyptologist. Everyone thinks he's an asshole.
Oh, the guy that did
because he holds other researchers back from
Wait, is it Deepak Chopra?
Is it?
Or are you thinking of that one guy that?
I don't even.
Well, it's because the Romans destroyed the library in Alexandria.
Oh, that's so terrible. I'm like,
yeah,
my God, just
burn
stuff down.
Right here. This dude. Oh, Zahi Hawass.
Yeah, Zahi Hawass.
Yeah, whoa, look at that lady. Whew. Yeah, this guy right here I'm talking about. This guy.
I have one of his books.
Dude, that's wild. Just studied everything about Egypt. But that's what I don't get is why is there not writings about how they did this? You think they would have written the process of what they did.
Well, it's kind of well documented that the Romans went in and destroyed.
Oh yeah, so there's all that was lost.
Yeah,
it's so weird that there's nothing.
They had a whole library where they would pirate ships. If you had books, you would pass over your books, and they would give you a copy of it back. They kept the original. So if you came into their territory with fucking books, they're taking them from you.
That's crazy.
They
Just
give you a
destroyed
copy back,
everything.
and so they just
Knowledge.
destroyed everything.
Just knowledge disappeared
yeah,
into
because we
the.
don't know how they
back
built.
That just like set us so far back.
New theory.
How do they move? They're saying they might have used woolly mammoths.
What?
Highly unlikely.
To
But
build
I don't
the
know.
estimated 5.9 million ton Great Pyramid, it is thought that around 800 tons of stone from quarries 2 kilometers wide were needed per day. Such quantities make the problem of transportation appear immense. Theories of how this was done have included dragging stones on sleds, possibly with the ground wetted beforehand, or rolling them using a type of cradle. Other ancient monuments, such as the Easter Island statues and Stonehenge, have attracted similar debates, although with the scale of operations order of magnitude smaller.
They could have floated them down the Nile.
I don't know. How can you protect your credit score?
They must have floated it down the river after they mined it.
They could have.
Because how else would you do that?
That would be able to carry that amount of weight. Because these things are huge.
Well, I know. I mean, they made platforms to hold them, so I figured they could make something that would like potentially just float, because that'd be simpler than dragging it through the desert or creating it. I mean, they didn't have like wheel cars or anything like advanced like that, so
No.
especially to hold up, like you're saying, that much weight, because that's just like a ridiculous amount of weight. Isn't that place in Turkey you're talking about called Gobekli Tepe?
Gobekli Tepe. No, that's in South America.
Yeah,
right?
where's that? Where's Gobekli Tepe?
Gobekli
Or
Tepe.
However the hell you say it.
Gobekli Tepe. Yeah, that's
This is like the very.
I don't know the spelling.
This is the most ancient civilization they've ever found.
Gobekli Tepe. That's got to be it. Okay.
Turkish.
Archaeologist site in Turkey. You're right. Turkish for Potbelly Hill is an archaeological site in the southeastern Anatolia region of Turkey, approximately 12 kilometers northeast of the city of San Larufa.
Man, that just looks arid out there, though. Like dried out.
Yeah, look at all these just...
Yeah, there's nothing. Nothing for miles. Whoa, look at that. The carving.
Yeah, there's like animals on it.
That's awesome. That's funny. Yeah.
The tell includes 2 phases of use believed to be a social or ritual nature dating back to the 10th, 8th millennium BCE. During the first phase, belonging to the pre-pottery Neolithic A, circles of massive T-shaped stone pillars were erected, the world's oldest known megaliths. More than 200 pillars and about 20 circles are currently known through geophysical surveys. Each pillar is 6 meters or 20 feet and weighs up to 20 tons.
What?
Fitted into sockets that were hewn out of bedrock. Whoa. Belonging to the pre-pottery Neolithic B.
This is before we learned how to make pottery.
Yeah.
We couldn't make a fucking bowl out of some mud, but we could.
And
we could build giant.
And you know a lot about stuff, and you've never heard of this.
Well,
No, that's what I was talking about. I didn't know that it was pre-pottery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I didn't realize that, but.
Yeah, Joe Rogan was talking about this on his podcast because somebody told him about it, and then I watched it and I was like, "What is this? I've never even heard of Gobekli Tepe. It's crazy."
Flat and barren plateau with building fanning in all directions. In the north, the plateau is connected to a neighboring mountain range by a narrow promontory. In other directions, the ridge descends to whatever. Blah blah blah. So yeah, it's just got these.
Whoa, man! Look at that.
Wow, look how like prime that is.
Dimensional, like coming off of there, actually has some 3D coming off that instead of
There's
just
that stone you were talking about.
Whoa, the one right in the center.
Sculpture of a fox. How do they know that's a fucking fox? I guess the tail and the
yeah.
dick.
I mean, what else would it be, really? You know.
Look at that, dude. They're like, we have to get the picture of the dick in there.
Whoa.
So you got like a bull.
Yeah, it looks like a yak, right? Or whatever those are.
What's below it? What is that? A
Oh,
bird?
a bird.
Oh, that's like a flamingo.
Oh, so they got
thing?
the same,
It's an
either
insect?
a wolf.
Is that an insect? What is this?
No, that's the same one, but just
that is a wolf.
yeah, it's either it's that fox or wolf one, and then you got that bird. I wonder what kind of bird lived in that area.
Look at this. They got these rafters. This
To
cool bridge.
preserve it, because they dug all that out.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
What bird is that? It looks like an emu.
Right?
Yeah, it looks like an emu. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Like that, or...
Whoa.
Sites with the T. Wow, so they're just everywhere.
Like similar cultures or societies out there.
That's cool.
It's like the birthplace of agriculture.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Must have been thriving back then, because it looks pretty dry and arid. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like why would they be living there if there wasn't like some
I think
good
there's
water
a-
and
Shouldn't be living there.
A very tropical kind of, or not tropical, but like a nice area to be in. That's like pretty reasonable as far as moisture and whatever.
man, it's crazy how fast the Earth can just change. Must have been like, even over there, not a very long period of time. It's like those places seem like they were different back then compared to now, where some places that were once like tropical and nice are now just dried out, dead pretty much.
Right.
And all that's left is just ruins of people who once lived there. It's like, whoa. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Right?
Good ghost towns all around the United States like that. Have you ever gone to a ghost town?
No.
I never have.
Never.
It'd be fun.
Well,
It'd be cool. There's Edgefield, but that's not really a ghost town. That's just a building.
Edgefield?
That's allegedly haunted. The one in
Oh,
Troutdale,
people say the hotel, one of the
The
rooms
hotel.
is,
or the whole
or the,
building,
or the
something.
building. Like, see people walking down the halls or something.
It's like, it's a ghost town.
I'd go paintballing there.
Yeah, I watch these videos of people who live out in Las Vegas area, like in Nevada, and they go out and explore
Yeah.
these old mine tunnels, and they bring high-powered flashlights and GoPro headgear and just walk in there, and they just follow these tunnels and check out these old mines that used to exist. And not only that, they check out ruins, like places where abandoned places, like you were talking about, like
ghost towns and things
like ghost
that.
towns, abandoned buildings.
Cool.
These one guys that have a YouTube channel, they're like 5 young dudes, and they go around and they do crazy stuff. And they decided to go out to this ghost town and stay the night. So they found like this town that used to be where there was like an oil refinery or something.
Yeah.
And then it all got shut down. And so everyone had to obviously move out, but they had built their society around where their job was. So there was this town, and all these buildings were completely abandoned, and just they were just going around
Detroit.
exploring. And yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, that's
Like Detroit.
whoa,
I mean, like, you know, yeah.
Detroit.
Sometimes cities die. I don't know.
It's weird.
Yeah.
There's that
Just
one in
doesn't
California that used to be like this vacation place in like the
Oh,
50s
yeah.
or something,
Look,
like a paradise.
prime.
And now it's just a desert, or in like the water that people used to swim in the lake is like toxic because there was all this, something went on, like the salt or something in the soil, and it killed all the fish. And so they all just died on the shore and started rotting. So the whole shoreline is just bones
Oh my
of all
god.
these just decayed fish. In this once paradise was from just the
Oh my
50s
God.
and 60s, I think, is just now just a toxic, barren, like dead place.
It's weird.
Just gone.
It's how places go from being thriving, and a few decades later, there's nothing left. Just
Right.
ruins, run down, whatever it is, you know. It's weird.
Well, it's like people
is
are
weird.
following. We still, like, even though we stay still now, we don't travel around and have the nomadic lifestyles. Like, we still follow resources.
Right?
So
Yeah.
it's like once the resources dry
Used
up,
up
we just
or-
move on to the next
Yep.
place to go.
Right.
Or get shut down or something happens, they're
Or
gone.
you just kill yourself, you know, whatever.
That's crazy though.
Safety nets. Just put them outside the building. You'll be fine.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's just insane how the human civilization has just evolved and changed over time and gone
Right.
from place to place. And
And now there's technology, and it's changing everything. Now we're trying to go to
Like-
other planets.
yeah, I think
Started with
I think the focus is a little bit off there. I honestly think that we should spend money on fixing our planet before we go
Yeah.
off and do
yeah,
radical, insane journeys into space. That's just nuts.
I don't think it's the worst idea though.
Well, no. I believe it pushes innovation in technology. But the problem is it's not logical. We need to take care of our planet first because we've built all these systems trying to call ourselves advanced, like we're moving forward technologically.
Right.
But you have people who are so built on greed and they don't care, so they've polluted the planet and fucked it up. So I think we should put our priority to fixing that first.
Right.
Then, by all means,
Fix our planet.
Go to Mars, go to wherever, build the warp drive. But don't build the warp drive until you fixed your planet.
You're going to change Musk's mind.
Right? Well, he can.
Who else? Peter Thiel or something? Is he doing stuff with SpaceX?
Who's Peter Thiel?
He's just one of those rich
businessmen. What's that guy?
Maybe he's
British. What the Boeing. British guy that owns Virgin Mobile?
Oh, Richard Braun.
Yeah, he just partnered with Elon Musk for Hyperloop, so it's now called Virgin Hyperloop.
Oh my gosh!
So now they're putting big money into like making this take it to the next level, pretty much.
Oh yeah, because didn't they try to do a satellite too? Or they
Virgin Galactic.
Yeah.
They actually they're doing it. The first space flights for a space plane is going to happen in 2 years.
Whoa.
So they're going to have like flights so you can take a tour up into the upper atmosphere and then come back down.
See the flat Earth.
Yeah.
And see the ice
wall.
the
flat Earth for themselves.
See the ice wall.
Right?
We'll finally get a first look at the ice wall.
No shit.
And the firmament, the dome. Tune in.
Tune in.
Up there, God won't let you.
To a tour of flat Earth.
Watch me bunk my head on the dome.
Let's see if this thing's real.
Oh my God, the Truman Show
It shatters.
Oh my God, that would be water starts pouring through.
Oops.
Starts dripping. Oh shit, it is real.
It just sucks everybody out the firmament. Right out through it, just done.
No, dude, there's water above it. There's water above it, man.
That'd be devastating. What an idea, though. Sounds so dumb. It's like, what are you talking about? The firmament and some fucking dome, like we live in what are those called? Those little, you shake them up and fucking.
Oh, the snow
yeah, it's like we live in a snow globe or something.
Right.
We do ball.
On a giant flying turtle.
The Truman Show, right?
Yeah. You thought the Matrix was what was going on. It's really just the Truman Show.
Giant flying turtle.
Both. It's just both.
On his back. Civilizations on a giant turtle flying through space.
Have
you seen that picture?
The back of a turtle shell.
Just the back of a turtle, and it's just flying through space. Just epic, massive turtle.
Whoa.
It's just weird when they film in front of like an actual audience, and it's like,
right.
Like, is it a laugh track or is it real people?
Yeah, I wonder that sometimes. I'm like, really this sounds like a laugh track, or just do people laugh like that?
Right. Then they all clap.
Yeah. It's like all together.
Wait. We all gotta do it. Just do like a cheesy laugh. Ready, go.
That's pretty realistic. Honestly.
We could use that as Foley, dude. We might be able to.
It's pretty good Foley.
That was good Foley. Yeah. That's good. We had 2 dudes and a lady, so it seemed believable, like it was a diverse audience.
Now we one lady.
Like that horse Foley I did. Remember that?
Yeah, that horse Foley was good.
Man, we made a horse sound, like a sound of a guy riding on a horse passing by, like, and then he like stops on some cobblestone and kind of like neighs, and then that's like the end of it. But we did like all the sound effects for everything. We did the hooves on the cobblestone just by like just doing that a couple times, like double layered. And then we added sound of leather creaking from the belts and all the harnesses and stuff. And like then we even did like, because the rider's ass would be bouncing up and down on the horse when he's like riding fast, so we used a pillow and we just like hit a couch cushion. We put the microphone there. We just kind of like, and we acted it out too. Yeah. We acted it out as if
you did a chain that was jingling or something.
We took the sword, because the sword would be like in there and there'd be some metal clinking around, so we used a bag full of random tools, and like nuts and bolts and just in a plastic and just kind of like jingled it all around and made it sound like it was realistic. And once we put those 7 layers together, it sounded so real.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, that was great. And then I just like made the sound of a horse. I was just like, just did that. That was it. Just
That's all you
like,
need. Well, you gotta have the neigh. That's probably, you can't do that yourself.
I don't know if I did the neigh or Nathan did. I can't remember.
If Nathan can neigh like a horse.
He's like, whatever the hell that sound is.
That sounds like a dolphin.
Yeah, I know, right? More of a dolphin sound.
Just can't replicate a horse, man. That's
Dude, it's
too,
hard.
Like,
Well, I can do the
intense.
that little like
blowing air
like,
out your
blowing
face.
snarl air or whatever. That's wild.
Exasperated sound a horse makes.
Well, we could probably wrap it up here, huh? It's
I already
pretty
told
fun.
you. Put it in the box.
Put it in the box.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Put it in the
Nail
Bum's
it.
All business right now, so we're gonna wrap it up.
Next podcast, number 7.
Number 7.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the S.M.A.R.T podcast. If you guys enjoyed that, please give it a like, hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification, and you'll be updated when we go live next time. And until then, keep your brain entertained with the S.M.A.R.T podcast.